It's Wednesday, the 22nd of January 2025. Welcome to the 116th edition of the Aurea Newsletter series. In our series today, we shall discuss the impact of the global fertilizer crisis on Africa and its food productivity in 2025. Before we get started, we would like to take a moment to welcome you to this channel. If you are visiting us for the first time, please subscribe, like and share this video and help us grow our family. If you have already subscribed, then show your support by liking the video and making a comment. Now let's dive in. Opening purview. The global fertilizer crisis, exacerbated by geopolitical tensions, economic disruptions, and environmental challenges, has significant repercussions on food security worldwide. This series examines the impact of this crisis on Africa, a continent that already faces challenges in food productivity. As fertilizer prices surge and availability decreases, African farmers are confronted with diminishing yields, escalating food insecurity, and increasing vulnerability to climate change. This series evaluates the effects of the crisis on agricultural productivity, food security, and economic stability in Africa in 2025. It also discusses potential policy responses and sustainable practices that can mitigate the negative effects of the crisis. Introduction. Agriculture is a cornerstone of the African economy, employing approximately 60 to 70% of the population and contributing significantly to the GDP of many African nations. However, the continent has long struggled with low agricultural productivity due to factors such as poor infrastructure, limited access to technology, and climate variability. The global fertilizer crisis, ignited by disruptions in supply chains, increased energy prices, and geopolitical instability, has compounded these challenges. Fertilizer is essential for improving crop yields, and its scarcity threatens to undermine food production across Africa, with profound consequences for food security, livelihoods, and economic development.
The global fertilizer crisis and its origins. The fertilizer crisis of 2025 has its roots in several global challenges. Geopolitical tensions, conflicts such as the ongoing war in Ukraine have disrupted supply chains, as both Russia and Ukraine are major exporters of fertilizers and the raw materials used in their production, such as natural gas and potash. Rising energy prices. Fertilizer production is energy intensive, and the sharp rise in natural gas prices has significantly increased production costs, leading to higher prices for fertilizers. Environmental policies. Several countries have imposed restrictions on fertilizer use to address environmental concerns, such as nitrogen pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, further reducing supply. Supply chain disruptions. The COVID-19 pandemic and other logistical challenges have hindered global trade, affecting the availability and distribution of fertilizers. These factors combined have caused a surge in global fertilizer prices, which is having a disproportionate effect on low-income regions like Africa. Impact of the fertilizer crisis on African food productivity. Declining crop yields. Fertilizers are critical for replenishing the nutrients in soil and boosting crop yields. In many African countries, where soil degradation is a significant concern, fertilizers are essential for maintaining and improving agricultural productivity. The increased cost and limited availability of fertilizers mean that many smallholder farmers, who make up the bulk of Africa's agricultural workforce, are unable to afford them. As a result, crop yields are declining, leading to a reduction in food production. The most affected crops include staples like maize, wheat, rice, and vegetables, which are crucial for food security in the region. Food insecurity. The decline in agricultural productivity has led to an increase in food prices, further exacerbating food insecurity across Africa. According to the World Food Programme, WFP, over 250 million people in Africa will be facing hunger in 2025, with the fertilizer crisis contributing significantly to this rise. Higher food prices make it difficult for many households to afford basic foodstuffs, resulting in malnutrition, particularly among vulnerable groups such as children and pregnant women. Economic strain. Agriculture contributes to the livelihoods of millions of Africans, and reduced productivity directly affects their income. Smallholder farmers, in particular, are facing financial hardship due to lower yields, higher input costs, and reduced market access. This is compounded by the broader economic impacts of the crisis, as many African economies are highly dependent on agricultural exports. Declining food productivity can lead to reduced foreign exchange earnings, trade imbalances, and an overall slowdown in economic growth.
Vulnerability to climate change. Africa's agricultural sector is already highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, with unpredictable rainfall patterns, droughts, and floods exacerbating food insecurity. The fertilizer crisis compounds this vulnerability by reducing the capacity of farmers to improve soil fertility and adapt to changing climatic conditions. This further limits agricultural productivity and intensifies the risks of crop failures, especially in arid and semi-arid regions. Policy responses and mitigation strategies. Subsidies and financial support. Governments in Africa can provide subsidies or financial support to help smallholder farmers access fertilizers and other essential inputs. Targeted subsidies, however, should be carefully designed to avoid market distortions and ensure that they reach the farmers who need them the most. Promotion of sustainable farming practices. In the face of fertilizer shortages, African farmers can be encouraged to adopt more sustainable agricultural practices, such as agroecology, integrated soil fertility management, and the use of organic fertilizers. These practices reduce dependency on chemical fertilizers and can improve long-term soil health and productivity. Diversification of fertilizer sources. Africa could invest in alternative sources of fertilizers, such as locally produced organic fertilizers, or explore partnerships with countries that have untapped fertilizer production potential. Strengthening local supply chains could reduce dependence on imports and mitigate the impact of global price fluctuations. Research and development. Investment in agricultural research and development, R&D, is crucial for improving crop resilience and reducing reliance on external inputs. Developing drought-resistant crop varieties and improving soil management techniques can help farmers adapt to both the fertilizer crisis and climate change. Regional cooperation. Regional collaboration among African countries can strengthen collective bargaining power in fertilizer procurement and promote shared solutions to agricultural challenges. Initiatives like the African Union's Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, CAD, can play a critical role in fostering cooperation and implementing effective agricultural policies.
Conclusion. The global fertilizer crisis of 2025 represents a severe challenge for Africa's agricultural sector and food security. The rising costs and scarcity of fertilizers threaten to further undermine food productivity, exacerbating the already high levels of food insecurity and economic instability. To mitigate these effects, African governments, farmers, and international organizations must collaborate on sustainable agricultural practices, policy interventions, and innovations that reduce dependency on external inputs while improving long-term productivity. The crisis also presents an opportunity to rethink and transform Africa's agricultural systems towards more resilient and sustainable models. By addressing both immediate needs and long-term challenges, Africa can better navigate the fertilizer crisis and work towards ensuring food security and economic stability for its growing population in 2025 and beyond. If you would like to learn more or wish to discuss paid brand sponsorship of any of our agribusiness videos, please contact us on any of the social media handles below. Quote of the week. 2 out of every 5 people owe their lives to fertilizers. Bill Gates.